heart stayed solitary all through winter, no food to accompany it. I picked at my plate. His departures cycled with the seasons, cycled without reason. He was gone for 3 months once. When we heard a faint rap at the door, my eyes lit up like Christmas lights. He left the next week, taking my mother with him. Your sister needs you to be brave. So I was. Aged 2 years and 2 weeks, wallowing in stress, until the car 180'd and it was my turn to say goodbye. I had never been so happy to drive in summer heat, but the summer nagged, dragged. Games only last until you lose, even winning is short-lived. With a lock on the front door, I was running out of air. And when his hair began to fall like snow from pine trees, hope was just as fleeting. But at Cathy's house, snow breeds Christmas. They're never light on laughter. Spirit spins year-round. Every meal is spent as family. Every person has a role. Piles of lemon bar and Lipton lifted weight off my shoulders. Every staff member was the living definition of volunteer, introduced every endeavor as an opportunity. Scintillating beads had potential for more than just bracelets, so I bottled up creativity, letting Pandora run free. Light spread across the house, now shielding us from the storm. We are one. And suddenly, my dad had 60 more brothers, sisters, aunts, uncles, 60 more reasons to keep fighting. Even with the pain of those we've lost, the sun never stopped shining at Cathy's house. The circle of support is titanium, strengthening its residents in the process. I may never get back those months I lost with my dad, but thanks to Cathy's house, garlic knots, brownie batter, salad, soda, they no longer elicit drowned laughter. Even miles away, the reminder of a circle unbroken.
All right. Nice job, nice job, nice job. And for those of you who have seen other Poetry Society of Virginia contests, there have been others. This one is spoken word, just to make the differentiation for those of you who have seen announcements on other winners and things of that nature. This is a different contest, okay? Thank you so much, Kashvir. That was beautiful rendition. Appreciate you. Lovely, lovely, lovely. In between each of the student poets, we will have one of our creatives. That gives me a little time to sit into the poem for a minute, if you know what I mean. You poets know what I mean. Everybody else is like, sit in a poem. What you talking about? You heard the poem. Anyway, I'd like to bring on my other half, as I call her. And for those of you who saying, other half, aren't you married? Yes, I am. I don't mean that way. I mean my partner in artistic crime, as I like to call her. And we are part of a group called K Squared. And what K Squared is, K Squared name came because both of our names starts with K. Don't overthink it. Nothing, you know, ooh, let's, no, just because both our names starts with K. And why I poet, she paints. She's a phenomenal painter. Speed painter, yes, but in intricate details, I mean, she does everything, you know, from full murals to portraits, you name it, she does it. She is that phenomenal. So welcome, Kelly.
Thank you, Kim. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. So tell us what you have there.
Well, I'm coming to you today from the Clearbrook Center of the Arts in Virginia. It's a beautiful gallery here, and all of the artists are all local artists of Prince William County. They're all members of the Prince William Art Society. And they actually have a lot of other things going on here besides just visual art. They have acting classes, they have live by bands and things like that. So check them out online, Clearbrook Center of the Arts. They're a wonderful organization. But I'm just sitting here today with a couple pieces of mine. I'm getting ready to hopefully, fingers crossed, be juried into an exhibition at Stonebridge. There's a gallery in Woodbridge, Virginia, in the Stonebridge Shopping Center, and it's called Open Space Arts. So beautiful gallery. So we've got the Clearbrook Center here in Lake Ridge, and then in Woodbridge is the Open Space Arts Center. It's a phenomenal space, so check it out if you have time.
Excellent, excellent. So would you mind sharing a few of your pieces with us and tell us a little bit about them?
Sure. Well, it's so funny because I was looking at your backdrop, and I don't know if you can tell, this one is some trees similar to your backdrop there.
Yay! Yeah, I love nature.
I just finished this one because today's the first day of spring, so I thought it'd be kind of cool to do a little ode to winter. Bye winter, spring. I do love all. So this is an acrylic on canvas. That's a 10 by 20 size. And then I have another one that I sort of fashioned off of our last performance. We did, Kim, you did a whole part on hope. And so I painted a dove during that live performance. This is not the dove, this is a different dove. But this is sort of in response to that. I created this one also. It's also on canvas. And one of my dear, this is another acrylic on canvas. It's from Grand Cayman.
Wow.
And what else do I have here? I have 2 alcohol ink pieces. And my dear friend Leah Tennant in Virginia Beach is also a photographer and artist herself. The alcohol inks, I absolutely love them. She likened it to herding cats. It's a medium that is not very easily controlled, which is part of the fun of it. This one's called Floral.
Beautiful.
This is one of my smaller works. And then I also have this one, which is actually a Z-clay of another original alcohol ink that I did called Wildflower.
Wow.
So if you're not familiar with what a Z-clay is, it's basically just a print of something that you've created, and you can put that on a canvas, you can put it on wood, whatever you want to put it on. This happens to be on canvas. So these are a few things I've been working on recently.
Now you see why I say talented. Did I say talented?
Thank you.
So what do you have coming up next?
Coming up next, I'm going to be traveling with you to Hershey Park, PA, and we are going to be performing, K Squared is going to be performing at Hershey Park Conference for the, I don't know the full name of it, APCA, APCA, which is an organization that helps the performing arts in colleges around the United States. They've also, I think have some cruise lines that might be looking at the performers next weekend. So send us some good vibes in hopes that somebody picks up our act. And again, like I mentioned earlier, hopefully I'll get juried into a show at the Stonebridge Gallery called Open Space in Woodbridge, Virginia. And just doing a lot of commission work this month. So some friends of mine have actually commissioned me to do some work, so I'm really thrilled about that. And some of my work from our last show 2 weekends ago, I sold on the spot at the show. And what I do is I paint them live in under 10 minutes. And so they're not completely finished. I take them back to the studio, put a little bit more detail, and then seal them up. That I can then give them to the customer or the art admirer. So I have one I'm starting tonight, and then I have another one that I have to finish up later in the week as well.
Excellent. So if somebody was interested in your paintings, how could they find them or you?
They could look me up by my name, Kelly Hannaclaw. I'm the only one on the internet, I think. But it's kellyhannaclaw.com. Also Art by Kelly Hannaclaw on Facebook, and on Instagram, Kelly Hannaclaw, or with you, Kim, on our K Squared Duo website or K Squared Duo on Facebook.
Now, of course, I know how to spell Hannaclaw, but you can spell it for the people who don't know.
Yes, it is Haneklau, and I spell my name with a Y, so it's Kelly, Hannaclaw.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here. You know, I love seeing you. Until next time.
Thank you for the platform.
Take care.
Thank you.
All right, I tell you, there's so many creative women. I'm just so proud of all of you. Don't let anybody tell you that you're not doing great things, because you are. You are. All right. we're ready for our next student poet. No, I said it correct the first time. Manuela, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All righty.
Okay. Hi, my name is Manuela.
Okay, give me 1 second. All right, go right ahead.
All right. My poem is titled The River. The river flows, not only when it wants to, with its careful tides and gentle waves. The river waits for no one. The river doesn't wait. The last breath gets carried by the river as it flows. The river doesn't wait for goodbyes. It doesn't wait for the tears. We must learn to flow with the water. All rivers come to an end and become part of something greater. All the water carries on, and so must I, because we are all part of something greater, a being, a purpose. So I must flow like the river, when death do us part.
Nice. Wow. Poets, student poets are tearing it up. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Again, for those of you who are trying to figure out what's going on, this is a two-part thing. This is the, but now I can't even talk. Poetry Society of Virginia spoken word contest for students. So in between each student, we're having a poet go. So just so you know why we're going alternating. So just want you to keep up with it. So anyway, welcome everybody. If you're just tuning in, now we're going to go to a poet. And I want to see if Katherine is ready. Katherine, are you ready?
I think so. I'm the only Catherine here, right?
Yes, you are.
All right, I don't want to top the line or anything.
And please introduce yourselves, because my introduction is going to be a one of what I know of you. Not that I don't know some of your bios, but Katherine is a excellent writer. Her imagery is beautiful, it's breathtaking. She has been in several articles online, so you can track her that way. But her writing is really the thing that just pulls you in word for word, syllable for syllable. So I will let her take it from here.
Thank you very much. I'm really happy to be here. Kim, you know that. I am also the current president of Write by the Rails, which is the Prince William chapter of the Virginia Writers Club. And Kim was our special guest speaker talking about haiku last week. If you go on our website, you can actually see that, and it's amazing. Get inspired, write some haiku, learn how to say it out loud. I always learn from Kim, especially about presentation and reading. She is just top notch. So I just have a few poems today. I've got, I'm so excited. I've got my next book is coming out. Hopefully, I think it's going to be in April. So it's going to be in time for National Poetry Month. And it's being published through San Francisco Bay Press. It's called 30 Years of Cardinals Calling. And it is a collection of like my very first poem published through Select Poems, like throughout the past 30 years. I can't even believe I just aged myself like right in live camera, but here we are, that's where we're at. So I've got some of the poems from that book that I'm going to be sharing today. This one is just called Now Untitled. For everyone missing their mother, I offer you a memory of mine. She hugged strangers, invited the lonely to dinner in her own home, fed everyone too much ravioli and turkey. Sometimes canned ham too. And she always mailed us Easter baskets, even when we were grown. All that cheap chocolate wrapped up in too much tape. I wear my mom on my hips, laugh as loudly as she did, whisper her name, cough a little. What's got me by the throat? Pollen, the dogwood and pear. You know how those spring trees are, throwing blossoms around, as if wastefulness were okay, as if we all will be. This one is called Backyard. The world is carnivorous, poets not so much. We are grass on a suburban lawn, planted like a good idea, fertilized, mowed. Know your place, says the owner. Stay low. Ah, but how green we are. How green, as if we will always be young. And this was actually inspired by art, the visual arts. It is called art making. Wednesday, and I put my work on pause, find my old art bag, carry watercolor pencils to Battlefield Park. My tie-dyed leggings pick up hitchhikers, bristles clinging to me like I am a spring tree and they new leaves. And suddenly I am 6 again, wearing fuchsia, white sneakers, muddy, uncaring if my art is good or if I am a good person. There is only color as pigment meets paper, act of outlining, softening the tip, rounding out the sharpness of life. There I sit under the ancient maple, middle of the week, making art, finally unjudgmental. And this last one is called Artist, for artists of all types. I'm reminding you to go back, rewind, even if only in the folds of your mind. Go back to the gallery, wear your dark glasses and cavalry coat. Be that thumbprint against the white wall, austere in the art of your own dress. Halls hailing you just for being yourself, as if you were light yourself. Return to the paintings that reflected you, retelling your story by heart. Step lightly into the stairwell. Hear how the right kind of marble echoes your lightest steps, speaks of the days when your brightest thoughts were on brushstrokes and hue, and any kind of reframing had to do with you. Hear how the halls repeat your name. Listen as they whisper it again, reminding everyone what it is to be. You were always meant to be beauty. We all were. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Can't thank you enough. And thanks for telling us about your book coming up too.
Thank you. I'm really excited. I've got big plans for that, coming to some of the local classrooms.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you. I'm telling y'all coming with the poetry. Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. So we're down to our final student poet. Elaine, are you ready?
Yes, I am.
Perfect. Go right ahead.
Hello, everyone. My name is Elaine Zhang, and the title of my poem is Dancing in the Rain. Raspy rumbles of thunder across the dingy gray sky build elation up in me as the trees tremble from the icy gale, liberating their loose hanging leaves. An effulgent flash of lightning strikes, brilliantly illuminating the dim, pale orange room in which my presence exists. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, screaming in my head. Each count hits me like a mallet on a gong. The counts getting longer and longer, storm floating farther and farther away before I finally hear the Benin rain plummet. I dart outside and feel a shower of droplets fall, invigorating me, inviting me. Arms out wide, gazing high up into the jejune sky, salient to the people around me, but only just a diamond in the fog. Conducting a split leap on the sidewalk, pausing midair to reposition my feet. I reach the earth with an elegant arabesque, my leg up halfway to a needle, then back down. The sight of rain falling on our earth is not just a landscape, but a state of tranquility, when all is quiet, except for the calm sound of rain, cascading all around me, echoing with each drop. Rain is not a burden, but rather an opportunity, an ajar entrance for you to experience dancing in the falls from the sky. The rhythm of the rain, the irregularly syncopated drum beats, layered all around me, turn into the sound of a baby tapping a drum lightly with a drumstick. To the beat of this rhythm, heavy weights hitting my back disappear like released balloons, drifting up into the sky. The sun manifests itself again from far away behind the overcast sky, beams of light shining through the unseen mist, creating an arc with such beauty as a ray of light through a prism. Within a few minutes, the sorcery wears off and all has come to an end, except for the sky, shining vividly in variations of ballet slipper and bubblegum pink, reminding us about the past, sacrifices and fulfillment, what the world is built on. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. Wow. And that is our third finalist. Wow. I tell you, y'all make me smile. All three of you. Poetry is in excellent hands. You know, us poets always looking to see what's going to happen with poetry, and y'all have come to show us that it's in excellent, excellent hands. Thank you so much. Y'all made this decision very hard. I want you to know that. I'll be thinking. All right. Zione, poet named Zen. Are you ready?
Hello. Yes, I'm ready.
Excellent. Nice
Okay.
to have you here. And
Thank you.
I'll let you, of course, introduce yourself, but you're about to see, I call, her mother is Major Sunshine, and this is a starlet of sunshine here.
I love that.
Both are so phenomenal, so I will let her go and do her thing.
Thank you. Okay, well, I'm going to get right into it. My mom is definitely, she's more talkative than I am. I'm just going to get into my pieces and then I can introduce myself after. But this first piece is actually, this is my first time reading it, and it's actually called Wildflower. And Kelly, I loved your painting, your wildflower painting. I was like, perfect introduction. You kind of started off on the right foot, so I'm going to get started. Here's to being a woman. No, here's to being a Black woman. To being blessed enough to exist amongst the best of us. To being blessed and cursed with the best and worst of both worlds. And sometimes all three, because you got another if she identifies with LGBT. Being a woman is to be filled with all power and punishment. It's to hold the magic of life and death in your womb, but still be regarded as the lowest in the room, yet Black women. I understand why they call it magic. Because this weight is more than most could carry. We wear it well enough for them to copy and slap a name on it that's a little less catchy. But in this season, I challenge you to soft magic, to more fairy dust and femininity than strength and self-dependency, because eventually bearing all of that weight on your own will weigh you down. And if you're not standing tall, how you gonna wear your crown? Yeah, queen. Tell me what you think that word means, because it's never been solely defined by strength or how much she can bend before she finally breaks. Yeah, a real queen knows how to delegate. Knows that every marathon isn't hers to race. Sees that there's so much more to life than fighting these days. Black women, that's all we're preparing our daughters for. The babies don't even know how to respond when genuine love comes knocking at their doors. Sees no purpose for companionship anymore in this season of gentle magic. I dare you to define your strength by vulnerability, to find your power and fragility. Consider the wildflowers and the lily leaves, all of the potency yet susceptibility to the wind. Letting themselves be soft yet magic simultaneously, and in the end, knowing all the power they hold, they still grow. Allowing the wind to fortify their roots and stems, but not to harden them. Growing from the lessons of the universe, but doesn't harbor the pain from them. And giving herself grace when she drops leaves. Knowing that these setbacks aren't stopping things, they only propel us forward. Because, pruning has always encouraged more growth. So in the wind we blow, in the season of soft magic, We aren't jaded or bitter or too independent for commitment or companionship. We are wildflowers, soft yet full of powers as we were created to be. Knowing that allowing myself to blow in the wind was always expected of me, fearfully and wonderfully a woman. That's Wildflower. And then I'm going to do another short piece. This piece is called Boundaries. Do you ever set boundaries with yourself? For yourself, your mental health, your intellectual wealth? Have you ever spent time alone with just you and nothing to do but to get acquainted, to explore the deepest parts of your realms, even the ones you felt ashamed with? Have you ever had to tell yourself no and had a hard time following your orders, struggling to live within your self-afflicted borders? But some days we just need to be alone. Some days we should be comfortable not answering the phone. Some days just have to be different, because one day all of it will be. Because one day nothing will look like it does now, but I know that I'll still have me. So I'll ask you this again. Do you ever set boundaries with yourself? Cancel plans when need be, being mindful of the things you let take and penetrate your energy? Do you ever take days for yourself? Tell your friends you'll see them later. Turn your phone off, meditate, stop and pray, or whatever suits you, player. Because when the music stops and the curtains close, the real question is, how well will you be able to talk to God about the secret gems inside of you that nobody else knows? And that's Boundaries. Thank you. A little bit about myself. I am a lover of plants, and I have an event coming up actually on April 16th. So if you like plants, wellness, painting, charcuterie, food, community, any of that, follow paintandplant.co on Instagram. And I'm going to drop the ticket link and all of that in the comments. It'll be a lovely experience. You should definitely come. It seems like the topic here has been nature and everything like that. So I feel like I'm amongst my people. So definitely would love to see some of you guys. Yes.
Yes, you are amongst your people. I'm a nature, I call myself an amateur nature photographer.
Don't say amateur.
But not a real one, you know. I put it out there, amateur, but photographers don't come for me. I said amateur. Yeah. I just love it. But thank you so much. That was beautiful.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate
it. Absolutely. Okay, I see y'all did not come to play. Beautiful. Still contemplating with the three, so I bring another poet up. Aria, are you ready?
Yeah.
Excellent. Now, I met Aria, was it online? I think it was on Instagram, right?
Yeah, Instagram.
And she came last month and just, oh my goodness. Woo. Poetry was just like, wow. So I definitely had to absolutely have her back again. So you go right ahead.
Thank you so much for having me back. I am going to read a poem called Phantom Dancer, and I wrote this about how sometimes the world can be really scary for women, but at the end of that, and at the core of that, we have female friendships and relationships with other women that serve as that source of just like comfort and love amidst all of that. Phantom Dancer. He is a shadow who sews himself to my back. I spy his loose thread, the one that unwinds him, sends him out again searching for loose stitch limbs or thimble thighs among college girls at this party. I wait before I shake him off like a female dog shakes off her pups. His friend is with my friend. They're across from us until she breaks loose. I follow her up brick stairs. Before I leave, his hand lingers on mine in protest, and I nearly crush his teeth with my scalp. In that touch simmers the audacity to attempt my friend's desertion. The doors swing open at the push of her body as she tips back her head to drink night-whipped air. I hold her as a twig supports a shivering leaf. Our breaths sink. With each shared cycle, she begins to return. Her muscles ripple with awareness, self-protection, safety, calm. beneath the light of the moon, neither of us will know neglect. The second one is called Sister Shakthi. And for context, Shakthi is a Hindu term for power that is, and it's coded as feminine. So, and then this one is dedicated to my sister because it was her birthday last weekend. So happy belated birthday to Saverna. And this is a long poem because I feel like siblinghood is one of the longest term relationships that we can have. And in this poem, I wanted to try to capture just all the dynamics and sassiness that can happen between siblings, and in this poem specifically between sisters. Sister Shakthi. Last weekend, we shared a blanket and laughed at Maya and Anna from Pen 15 as they wrestled through 7th grade. We goofed off in the kitchen during chores and cooed over dog TikToks, and then figured out the astrological chart of our toddler neighbor because his dad posted his birth time and place on Facebook. We ventured to the lakeside with a hammock. After I ran the trail and she lifted weights, we found 2 trees, slim but firm, where we tied the ropes. She got in first, and I was hesitant to join since the curve nearly grazed the root-tangled ground, and like, what if I broke it? But I cocooned myself beside her regardless, and soon enough, a Canada goose from the cohort, sunning themselves on a fallen branch, walked over with sleek, webbed feet, face and neck dipped in ink to peer at us. In the sunken hammock, our reclined heads were at his eye level, maybe even below. What if he beaks at us or something? As we laughed in alarm, we stood up, reminding him we are taller, though his neck is still impressive. He got the message and meandered off, but not before Saverna took a flattering close-up of him right there observing us, curious about these 2 brown sistered beings swaddled in cloth they hung themselves. TBH, sometimes I hear her through the wall FaceTiming her boyfriend, and it annoys the heck out of me. I shut my bedroom door and journal. I tuck my stuffed dog beneath my arm crook. I like the guy, he's great, truly. Her boyfriend, I mean, not my stuffed dog. I love my stuffed dog. I'd bet more so than my sister loves her boyfriend. Chocolate has been with me since I was 5. That is over 20 years on their 3. Not to mention, I have known my sister all her life. We do not need FaceTime as a virtual glue to hold us together. And yet, I bought a stuffed dog identical to Chocolate when I was set to move away from home for the first time. My housemate is a Pisces like Saverna, and the sameness of their sons soothes me. I can balm my lips with bitterness and repeat the motion all I want, but need cannot be whittled away, even with a tool as sharp and glinting as resentment. As for the boyfriend, he gifted my sister the hammock we draped in the park that day. When I met him, he stood up to greet me. The recognition that I am a key figure overwhelms me. Thank you.
Wow. Woo. Wow, 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 wow. I did warn y'all. I did. That was absolutely beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you. And memories of my sister. Sometimes we go along, sometimes we do. We're better today. We're definitely better today. So I forgot to do my piece in the beginning. I was so busy going into the student poet. So I'm going to do it now before I bring the next poet on. And we'll keep this list moving because y'all are doing some beautiful work up in here. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Women, we live in a rabbit hole. They say don't go in a rabbit hole. But women live in a rabbit hole. We live in between your blinks, don't look. You'll see us. You'll find another reason to relegate our hair, our body, our thinking, our dress. Don't go in the rabbit hole, that's what you say, but where else can we exist without your constant equations, subtractions? You know, when you subtract our value and say you're adding it, you know, that fake, that new math, the math where we get to pick nothing, but you get to pick everything, and then tell us how lucky we are. Is this what lucky feels like? I'd rather be unlucky. You say, don't go in a rabbit hole. You say you appreciate us, but it seems like you only appreciate us when we're a certain size. Oh, I'm not supposed to talk about that. I'm just supposed to ignore the fact that, you know, how did we get to these standards in the first place? You tell us we're useless, but no one throws a rose away because it has a thorn. So miss me with how perfect we have to be. How many roses are you going to destroy? Because it doesn't fit into your fragrance pattern. We're sick of that. We have tried so hard to be helpmates to people who don't want to be helped. Oh, you want to be helped? No, you want to be commander chief, but I didn't sign up for no army. And I won't be your army of one. I get to think, I get to breathe, I get to decide my own path. Yes, you can walk on this journey with me, but you are not the commander of my path. There's only one, and that's God, and his name does not start with you. Why do we feel that we can't share, become who we're supposed to be with you? The sun is supposed to shine on us too. We're not walking shadows. Who told you that lie? Lie tastes better than truth for some folks. Women have been dodging judgment bullets all of our lives. And some of you have endless clips, and we're sticker matrixing ourselves out of your way. So we dived into the rabbit hole. Animals seem to recognize beauty without judgment. You see, cats and dogs never asked us what we are. They just looked for love, love in genuine form. They didn't ask for anything. But you ask for things you're unwilling to give. You want us to jump through hoops, but you're not willing to cross the street to help us in need. Here's where you go through your constant pattern of denial. Not me, that's somebody else. Don't speak for me. I'm not speaking for every man. Because that's your defense. Ain't you sitting on enough fences though? Any time for you to get off and pick a side? We're not asking you to march. We're not asking you to scream. We're asking you to recognize that we are women because we say we are, and you don't get to decide anything about us. Our definition is self-taught, is self-written, and it will keep being done in our heartbeats, and we don't need no lyrics from you. So, you want us to speak up more, but not be labeled loud. You want us to speak up more and not be labeled arrogant. Careful. While you're putting that blinders on how you treat us, your daughters and granddaughters are watching. They're wondering, should I be in a rabbit hole with mom? Seems like a safer place than this. Okay. Moving on, moving on. I tell you, the poets are in the room. I'm still stuck. I'm still on my, okay, get another poet off. I'm trying to narrow it down. Don't think I'm sitting here like, oh, I really don't know. I'm stuck between all three of you. Dawne, are you ready, my dear? Okay, she is ready.
As ready as I'll ever be.
So Dawne is a beautiful soul who does so many things. She's going to tell you all about what she does. Hands of gold, heart of goldenness. And she just one of those fluent poets who just makes you think. But If you are in need of a massage, let them hands make you think too, okay? I'll step out of the way.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Kim, for this opportunity to speak on behalf of Women's History. I am a woman and I am making history. I'm a mother of 5 and a grandmother to 4. People don't believe me and I'm so grateful. And my response is always, I don't look like what I've been through. So definitely grateful for that. So I'm going to do 2 pieces. One is called A Strong Black Woman and the other one is called Thankful. So here we go. Okay. Sometimes a woman just wants to be held. No intimacy, although that's great, it's not everything. Sometimes a woman just wants to be held real close so she can feel the warmth and breath of her soulmate, being swaddled in his arms, in his tight embrace. She needs that. Because you see, a woman has to work twice as hard to be the queen she is and hold things down. You know, the job, the kids, the house, the husband, the businesses. After all, she is that Proverbs 31 woman. She has to work not twice as hard, but thrice as hard to show her worth in competition to the other women at work. And all those so-called sisters acting like crabs in a barrel, looking for anything to say or do to pull her down, but even they can't shake her crown. The strong Black woman is not angry, no, she is fierce. She is not mad, she is determined. She is not crazy, she is resilient, tenacious, a force to be reckoned with. She is relentless. Relentless in her pursuit to run her business, build a team, keep a good home, advocate for the community, raise her children, despite those trying to bring them down or worse, kill them. She is relentless, trying to encourage and affirm her man as it seems everyone is out to get him from the job and the sports and the community. She is relentless, trying to please her man and keep him coming straight home at night. Despite all the trifling sisters that want to freak him or steal him, she has to be a lady in the street, a freak in the bed, a boss in the boardroom, a savvy shopper in a supermarket, a frugal fashionista in a mall, and a cheerleader on the field. She's not angry. She is not mad. She is diligent. She is focused. She is resilient. She has no choice but to be strong, for weakness, even for a moment, could be the death of her. And even if not in the physical reality, but the death of her dreams, the death of her hopes, the death of her hard work, the death of her family, and all that it took to get her to this point here today. She could not afford to be fragile. No, not with the weight she has to bear of being a virtuous woman, a helpmeet, a winning wife, and a gem far above rubies. She cannot afford to be fragile. She doesn't come with handle with care instructions, although she should, because she is so precious, worth more than the finest gem and oh so valuable, but no, not with the weight she has to bear. The weight of the father who left home early and never affirmed her or told her he was proud of her or never told her she was beautiful and never showed her she was God's gift to a man. She can't be fragile. With the weight of the husband who left home under the pressure of responsibility, or the husband that abandoned and neglected her, or left her for another woman with no explanation. She knew how to make her husband happy, keep a clean home, and live right. So why so much pain? Why so much abuse? No matter if it's physical, emotional, financial, or verbal, it's abuse and pain just the same. They all still hurt deep. They all still result in deep underlying wounds, scars, and trauma. She is left wondering and questioning, what did she do wrong? Where did she miss it? Why her? Why now? Hasn't she prayed hard enough, waited long enough, believed long enough, stood strong enough? Enough? Enough for who? Enough for what? So she lays down her questions and her pain. She picks up her head and her strength regained. She remembers who she is and whose she is. She stands up tall, she straightens her crown, and she holds her head up high because she cannot stop now. She won't stop now. With so many people against her, expecting her not to rise, she has to show her worth and her value and lift up her eyes to whence cometh her help. She has to be strong and tough and fierce and not back down. She needs this resilience, this relentlessness. Without it, she would die emotionally, spiritually, and physically. Her strength, her perseverance, her tenacity, her focus, her diligence, her steadfastness, her won't take no for an answer, and her attitude. Yes, her attitude. That is her armor. It protects her. And it helps her to keep going on the face of all the haters, in the face of all the naysayers, in the face of all the perpetrators, in the face of all the doubters, in the face of all those that look her in the face and pretend they're with her, or that they understand, or that they wish her well, or that they're in her corner, or they would help if they could, but yeah, right. They are secretly, and maybe not so secretly, planning and hoping for her demise, her downfall, and her failure. But they will never see it. She will never give up. Quit is not in her vocabulary or in her DNA. She will never let them see her sweat. She will outlast them, outlive them, outdo them, outwit them, outreach them, outwork them, outgrow them, and still outlove them all. And she will do so unscathed, unwavering, unshakable, unworried, unmovable, untouchable, unapologetically, and unbothered, because she is a strong Black woman, and that is her magic, her Black girl magic. Sometimes she just wants to lay down her cape and be held how strong and beautiful that she is, or admired, and how thoughtful she is, but most of all, how needed and how loved she is. After all, she is like no other. She is a strong Black woman. And that is that piece. Do I still have time, Kim? Okay, thankful. I'm so blessed. I just wanted to thank you, God. I could think of all the things that are going wrong and all the things that are going on and all the times that I should have, could have, would have, but I refuse to have any regrets. For this life, I thank you, and I am very blessed. I thank you for all the times that you've seen me through. I thank you that you guide me, direct me, and protect me too. I thank you that you blessed me with 5, and then you added 2, and you added 2 more, and now there's plenty more blessings in store, I'm sure. So as you stretch me in so many ways, I pray that your strength will uphold me and that I walk in your grace. I thank you that you've never ever failed me, no, not once. I thank you that you always show up on time, even though it's not my time, and sometimes it feels like a long time. Either way, you're perfect in all your ways. You're perfect in your timing, and I thank you. I thank you that you chose to use me in spite of the fact that others have abused me. I thank you that you see me as you made me, how you created me to be. And what I've been through doesn't mean anything to you. I thank you. I thank you for the tests and trials, in the hard times, in the sad times, in the times that my tears saturated my pillow. I thank you that I will always know that you are there for me, in me, with me, working through me and for me, and I will never be without. I'm grateful for my physical ability to see. I'm ever so grateful for my spiritual ability to see beyond the now, beyond the circumstances, beyond the situations that have the potential to bring me down. I thank you for eyes to see how beautiful the future will be because you are with me. I'm grateful. I'm thankful. I'm determined to live life with no regrets. Thank you, Lord, that you continue to make ways out of no ways. You continue to open doors no man can shut and close doors no man can open. Thank you, Father God, that you have spoken to my heart. So I yield to you. I give in. I give in to your spirit. I submit to your grace. I succumb to your will, which is love for me and healing in my time of need and strength for my body. I thank you. I have never have to be without because you have supplied all my needs according to your riches and glory. And I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Because he called me and predestined me before the worlds were framed. I am the apple of his eye. I am his workmanship. I am his daughter, and I am grateful. I am thankful that he chose me, and he chose you too. So step up and step in to his will and his way and his plan. You will not regret it. You too will be thankful. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Beautiful. So tell us, what do you have coming up?
Oh, I have a Sparty. I hear that's what it's called now. I was like, what is that? It's a spa party. So my birthday is Wednesday, March 23rd, and I'm going to be 51. Yes, 51, and I'm very excited. I'll tell my age to anyone because I'm just grateful to be here, right?
Yeah.
Moving, breathing, and so forth, and for all that God has blessed me with. So Wednesday is my birthday, and I'm having a spa party on Friday and a paint party on Saturday. So we partying up in the arts this weekend, so I'm excited. So if you're interested, I'll put my email in the chat and you can reach out to me. Thank you again for the opportunity.
Thank you for coming. Appreciate you. Tell you, y'all just doing beautiful, I'm still on the fence. I think I'm gonna end up with waiting till Kathy goes to actually make my decision. So the next young lady I'm bringing up, let's see, how do I describe her? She is a giving soul. She is a lover of art. She is one of the reasons why poetry in Prince William County is as beautiful as it is. And I just love me some Alice. So I don't know what else to say about her. So Alice, how are you today? You have to unmute. Hold on, she'll be back. You still muted. She'll tell me this Zoom thing, I don't know why you keep having. You know, I hate this technology. I'm ready for my speech now. Nope, you got the videos. You're close. The button next to that. I don't think I can unmute you. No, I can't. Yep, getting closer. Work with us, technology.
Am I there?
Okay, now I got your voice, but not your face.
It said unmute.
Yep, you're unmuted. I can hear you. I just can't see you. Nope, no, I can't. Now I can see you, but I can't hear you. Hey, let me hit the button. Sometimes when it's on the screen, it's easier. Okay, now I can't see you and I can't hear you. Zoom is a monster. Almost, no, they won't even let me see. Okay, now we got video back. Progress. Oh, and you're
Can you
unmuted.
hear me now?
Hey, we're there.
You can hear me?
Yes, indeed.
Okay. All right. I have a couple of things today that I hope that will be enjoyable. And we're celebrating the greatness and the priorities that women enjoy. And I've enjoyed the poetry today about strong women, about the wonderful youth poetry. I couldn't get over the expressions they used for it, and I'm so proud to be a member of the poetry community. And Kim, I'm just so thrilled that you've arranged this day for poetry about women. And I'd like to begin with this. Ode to the Power of the Pen. With all the blessings of the garden, was there a single pen to write with ease great memories of when we first began? How did Moses keep accurate track of all those Israelites? Did he scratch upon a tablet carefully each and every night? How did exactly Homer write his legendary Odyssey? Did he steal ink from the Cyclops so he could thrill readers like you and me? If Cleopatra kept a journal, have her yearnings ever been found? Did she press into papyrus, writing her scandals nightly down? Did King Arthur keep a notebook while he was being betrayed, bearing his wretched soul as Lancelot stole his fair maid. The bard said, the poet's eye glances from earth to heaven as imagination is employed. The forms of things unknown, the poet turns to joy. We know Emily wrote on scraps of paper. Her sub rosa musings were found there. These poems snubbed in her lifetime, his news are always hard to bear. And now, my friends, inspired poets, let's make our moments last, especially here in Prince William County. Let's continue to give our pens wings of power, as did the great ones from the past. I've written now about 3 strong women. This first one is going to be a type of poetic book report. After reading Emily's House, January 27th, 2022, entry number 8 in my plague diary. Battered with stress and soaked to the bone with anxiety, I'm trying to wind my way through this beleaguered winter, trapped in the body of an elderly stranger after almost 2 years of sporadic quarantine and trying to be martyrishly obedient. My basic plan, if someone asks by text or email, what do? I read. First, though, I have to try to sleep as midnight arrives all black and blue around me and not worry through a fretwork of jagged moments doilied in dreams. Such was last night after finishing Emily's House, the 98th read since March 12th, 2020. This marvelous story, told by Emily's Irish maid, who served at the Dickinson household for 30 years, ensnared me with its constant changing emotions and subtle net of language. I lived vicariously, yet alone, just as Emily did in Amherst, now near 200 years ago. Here are some of the lines I copied down to contemplate and share. Her gray morning bled away toward noon. Emily was fond of saying, it's easy to invent a life, but that day I was seeing how life was inventing me. Another great moment. It's the transitory nature of life that makes it so sweet. The knowing that each moment that it will never come again. And grief is a long season. Emily to her maid. You always wear the perfume of thoughtfulness. Overnight success usually takes 15 years. I learned that Emily had a good sense of humor. Late afternoon lights splattered across the walls, and many words were about Emily's garden, the roses ribboning the garden paths, a riot of daffodils along the fence, a yard hemmed with a carnival of hollyhocks. And my 2 favorites, the first so Irish, it wasn't my ears, but my heart did the hearing. And heaven comes so rarely near us, we must visit when it does. My little report does not begin to touch the beauty of the language and the life this story interprets. So, will my days be spent mostly alone be any better, knowing that Emily seemed to thrive in this condition? Yes. I'm using her example as a tonic, as a medicine, to know that these 2 years have added strength by reading of many women who have survived the obstacles placed before them much better than I have so far. One more quote, this from a National Geographic, which I turn to again many times over. After her husband died of a heart attack, Sherry Hunter sought solace in traveling solo with a group of her girlfriends who called themselves the Dare Divas. Together, she writes, when we face something daunting, foreign, we weather it, digest it, conquer it, learn for it, and we will be fine. Facing, hopefully, only a few more weeks of this thing called COVID, with the magic of ink on the page and remembering great kindness when most needed, I will dare to be fine. And now this strong woman. History catapults us back, yearning in a haze of the longing which lies in us, waiting to be retrieved. History, more than facts, more than stirred emotions, and in the following tribute, pure respect. Born Araminta Minty Ross to be enslaved on the eastern shore, beaten and whipped as a child, she rose up, reaching deep in her core to search for a way to save her life, running from toil, fleeing strife that kept her from using her strengths and will, ran, hid, so that she would not be killed. Finally, in Philadelphia, she could have stayed, but her heart and soul led her a different way. So back she went to get them free, back to her birthplace, surely thinking they're waiting for me. Back again she went, using her knife to plunge into the forests on moonless nights, built up a network so they would not be found, creeping along the swamp-filled underground. 13 times there were always more, waiting behind their vulnerable doors. 70 saved, family and friends, but that certainly was not the end of this selfless quest to make wrong right. So she entered into another fight. Minty was the first U.S. woman to lead an armed military raid, a spy and a nurse for the Union, always on the edge of afraid. After the war, freeing the enslaved, she joined Katie Stanton and Susan Anthony in their quest for voting rights, keeping the future firm in their sights. Further, before passing away on March 10th, 1913, she quite often could be seen setting examples for you and me. For instance, she established a home for the aged and indigent, her folks who had no place to rest their elder years, until she spoke, "Help my people quell their fears." Every person deserves respect. This was another promise she kept. Let's celebrate the bicentennial of her birthday. Harriet Tubman showed us the way to love one another, searching to find justice for all, time after time. We don't need to live in the past. We need to remember the stirring and positive moments clearly, so we can create them anew. History. And quickly and finally, I had a wonderful friend, and one night she went down on a rainy evening to retrieve the mail at her box, which is at the end of a long driveway. She slipped and fell against her head and was found. Barb's hands. They soothed each friend as each of us know. We were important. They helped love grow. They hugged. They competed. Each project they completed. They wrote. They carried. They mothered. They made merry. Barb's hands prayed. They typed. They hauled. They made right. They pleased. They pressed. They lasted. They did their best. Barb's hands planted, they created, they made happy unabated. They heartened, they did not fold, not resting, They turned out gold. They made gorgeous each thing they touched. Barb, I will miss you oh so much. Soaking wet, they struggled as fate appeared that fall. Then when so needed, up the driveway they crawled. Found by an ambulance, at first they covered her mouth. The cough could not be quelled. Then her hands were used to write a final note saying, all is well. COVID will eventually be contained. Let me be patient till then and use my hands and heart like Barb's to fight despair and love my friends. And you who are listening are my poetry friends. Let's keep poetry alive, well, and beautiful in Prince William County.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Wow, that was beautiful. I know it must have been hard to read, and I appreciate you sharing that with us. Thank you so much. That's my friend. That's my bud. All right, speaking of friend and bud, I'm going to bring up another friend and bud of mine, and poetry is complicated. But it is not always complicated because sometimes people make you feel welcome and genuine and appreciated immediately. And Paulette was one of those people who made me feel that way immediately. So Paulette, I'd love to hear what you have for us. Don't forget to unmute.
Thank you, Kim.
Thank you.
I appreciate you having me on to share for Black History Month. I'd like to start with a haiku. I usually like to do that when you ask me to come on because I know you're the haiku queen. So here's a little one. Ideas sprang forth like rivers overflowing. The mind is unplugged.
Wow.
And the first one I'd like to read, the first poem I'd like to read, long poem that is, I wrote it for a Black History program, and it's interesting. It didn't occur to me until I was trying to revise it for this occasion for Women's History. I used all men's name the first time. I don't know why I did, but for this, I changed it to women's name. So here it is, Guarantees in Our Great God. And I have a scripture to open the poem. It says, no weapon formed against you shall prosper, and every tongue which rises against you in judgment, you shall condemn. And that's Isaiah 54, verse 17. God Almighty, the giver of all good gifts, equips and empowers us for his service. When we respond in the affirmative, acting on his promises and saying yes, change happens. Lives are transformed, dreams are manifested, and hope is born. God's matchless love is from everlasting to everlasting. From our ancestors all the way down to us, God's love has been steadfast and unfailing. God sent his Son to be our guiding light, illuminating the paths for the unknown and the knowns. Harriet Tubman, Sojourner Truth, Maya Angelou, Justice Sonia Sotomayor, Sister Maisie Moore, and Clara Barton, and all the rest of his faithful servants throughout the ages and on history's pages. The guidance of his indwelling Holy Spirit ensures that we never walk alone, for we are divinely directed. In his empowering presence, we can withstand life's tests. He anchors us in his love so that we are not tossed about aimlessly. God's matchless sovereignty is from everlasting to everlasting. For the history yet to be written, we look to Jesus, the author and the finisher of our faith. That's what it says in Hebrews 12:2. So let us rejoice in our great God, who is the source of our strength. We can be confident and secure in our Heavenly Father. He is omnipotent. Need help? Ask God. Then accept His assistance. Talk to God and listen to God. And the last poem, this idea came on April 4th, of 2021, which happened to have been Resurrection Sunday last year. Our pastor preached about Job, and many of you might know about him. 3 of his friends came to see him after he had a real turn in fortune. He lost his children, he lost his wealth, and was on the verge of losing his health. And he was just miserable. These friends came to see him, and they weren't very helpful or sympathetic. They kind of blamed him for his problems. And so the pastor preached a sermon called I Know. And so this poem came about. It's in 2 parts. The first part is with the Jamaican accent. It's called Better. And the second part is in plain English for the rest of you who don't understand Jamaican language. It's called Better. So the first part, Better. I know all the time talking is best, you know. Sometimes it's better to be quiet and go on about your business. And you might say, when is that? Well, when you have nothing good to say, and when what you say now help nobody, not a single soul. Keep quiet, man, and listen. Or as we say in Jamaica, hold your tongue. Talking is overrated, man. The tongue is like a knife. It can cut you down. Sometimes silence is better. And now English, better. It's not all the time that talking is best, you know? Sometimes it's better to keep quiet and go on with your business. And you might say, when is that? Well, when you have nothing good to say and what you say is not helpful to anyone. So be quiet and listen. Or as they say in Jamaica, hold your tongue. Talking is overrated, man. The tongue is like a knife. It can cut people down. Sometimes silence is better. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Know I just say when they get vexed and they get into the language you don't understand. So you really do it down for them people because you could have done it with thick. So you did it really, you know. Appreciate you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Some of y'all like, what are they saying? Yeah, if you have it in your family, you start to learn it. And I didn't even know I could, you know, go in and out of it until I was in college. And someone said something to me and I said, what? Who you think you talk to? And I said, ooh, look at me. I was like a little kid. Yeah, I had never used it before. Anyway, so I have finally made a decision, and it is a perfect time for me to have finally made a decision because Cathy is coming up and she is going to do some poetry herself and some of her daughter's poetry. And I will then make my announcement of who I finally decided. And I want to tell you, I don't want y'all to think I just had you hanging around because I'm like, well, let's make the win today. I really thought after the first poet, I'd make a decision. And then I was like, no. And then, you know, like Dawne put in the comments, she goes, Kim, I don't know how you're gonna, I was like, I don't either. I mean, this is really hard. Y'all made it hard. And, you know, I'm normally, I get something in my head, I'm gone. But y'all really made it difficult. So thank you for that. But not thank you, but thank you. You know what I mean? So Cathy, you go right ahead and do your poetry. And after you're finished and doing Alexandra's poetry, I will tell you what my decision is.
All right. Thank you, Kim. And thank you for judging that contest for the Poetry Society of Virginia. I'm going to read some poems that are ekphrastic. They're based on artwork. There are women in them, but they're inspired by different kinds of art. And since that's also a focus of today, I thought it'd be a nice way to start. So the first one was from a piece of artwork that was displayed in this tiny gallery at George Mason University in the Johnson Center. And so it was a student work. And it's called A Mother's Love. A mother's love, flesh on flesh, earth around. Two headless figures float in a womb-like state, a mother and child, encased in swirling black, green, and tan brackish waters. A mother nursing her baby, distinct but amorphous, neither separate nor complete. Two bodies form a bond, flesh on flesh, together as one, examined as amoebas, microscopically, headless at this moment. As this moment is of the heart, not of the head. Reason overtaken by a mother's love. I know a mother's love, flesh on flesh. The second one is inspired by a piece called Shadowbox by Joseph Cornell. He did a lot of structures with found objects. Look him up, he's really fascinating. Joseph Cornell. And the piece that this is about is called Medici Princess from 1952. Shadowbox. She's encased in a box. I stare as if watching TV. The square elements between her and the wooden frame appearing as buttons for sound and image. If I put a coin in the slot, will she move? Will she speak? Will she tell us who wrapped her neck in pearls? Who draped her shoulders with a leaf-shaped pendant that plunges to her waist? Will she tell us who enslaved her? Who stole her away from childhood, alienated her from family, separated her from her journal and feathered pen? The means to broadcast her story to the world. What was Joseph Cornell thinking when he closed the mahogany box around her soul? And then the third one is actually inspired by a ballet. And it's part of a series about 10, or inspired by 10 episodic ballet pieces that were performed by the Moscow Festival Ballet. And these, along with other poems not ballet related, are in my forthcoming chapbook, I'd Rather Be a Hyacinth, and that will be out next January, they say. So this one is called, this one is from selections from Paquita, and in the Paquita fairy tale, there's a person who doesn't realize she's of a noble birth in disguise. So anyway, you kind of get the story from the poem. A man's world of war, Napoleonic army, crossed with gypsy lore. With no pedigree, this undignified woman is no soldier's wife. Grace of a heron saves the soldier losing life by switching glasses, avoiding poison, cruel economic clashes. Her gold medallion, proof of noble position, inspires love's proposition. That poem is of a particular form called a haiku sonnet. It's not a very well-known form, but one that I learned from Tom Hunley's book, The Poetry Gymnasium. And it's a marriage of East and West. It's the concept of, the syllable count and, the format of the haiku, 4 haiku and a couplet at the end, or you can call it 3 haiku and a tanka. But the rhyme scheme is like a Shakespearean sonnet, which is based on quatrains. So it's very counterintuitive. It's quite a challenge. But once I wrote one, I kind of got obsessed with it. It's also a good way to help you hone your language, rein it in from longer prose. So anyway, thank you for listening. And now I'm going to read, I also sent some of Alexandra's poems that she had already collected into a chapbook. And her collection has also been accepted for publication. So I don't have any date on that one yet, but it's called Intrastate Lines. And I haven't read any of these to any, poetry readings yet. So I thought I'd read some. I'm only going to read a few, and they're very short, but it's 20 poems minus one, which is an interesting phenomenon that I'm still trying to decide what to do about, because they're numbered 1 to 18 and then 20. And I kept looking for different versions of the manuscript to see if somehow I'd screwed up and lost a poem in the process of transferring things. Apparently not. So I'm working on a strategy here. So the first one, I'm just gonna, they're not titled, they're just numbered. Okay, so number 1. Like May, hibiscus dunes stretch, beating peach cream blues in harmony with a golden plasmic tempo, rise tonal shadows in complementary velocitic degrees, gaining height above northern deciduous, forced me to put on my sunglasses before hiding behind a shield of perfect tea gray. 3. It's another fuchsia Sunday, but this time I only catch a glimpse as the setting sky disappears behind the sound barriers that line this Delmarva strip of I-95 between Baltimore and Silver Spring, like the summer canopy behind fog driving me west in the golden hour rush, before disappearing as the motorway forks toward the Cardinal state, relaying a simple July formula for hypothetical dreamers that fish from the moon without bait for the stars. 6. The bumblebee is such a brute for a nectar lover, unlike butterflies who ride nectar pallets like West Coast waves, drawing nectar in the breeze. 7, and this one is inspired by a painting by Van Gogh. Irises, St. Remy, May 1890. Prussian blue, petals wave and reach, ranging in hues to pure carmine, whose verdant stacks disappear like a thunderstorm into the wet depths of golden vases that stand against a gleaming room walled in striking lemon yellow. And 11, the last one. A West Shore and Beechwood, at West Shore and Beechwood, not a single beech tree fertilizes flourishing branches of dainty nuts, but the pileated woodpecker laughs in hysterics from the tipped top of the crabapple tree as lily pads tread by the shore of its shadow. And I smile, thinking, this will be the day. Big orange ball sinking in the water, sweet breeze kissing my bare feet. Thank you. And so 2 things. I'm the Northern Region Vice President of the Poetry Society of Virginia, and I also ran the student contest. So that's why Kim wanted to wait until I was here, I think, to make her announcement. So hello, you all. I've been emailing you, but we hadn't met officially till today. Also, my daughter, Alexandra Zandalan Haley, was Poet Laureate of Prince William County, along with Robert Scott, the inaugural poets chosen for the occasion. And for those of you who don't know, unfortunately, we lost her in a car accident when she was 26. So it is very special to me to get the opportunity to read her work and to help get her words out into the world. So I'm excited about the upcoming publication as well. So thank you for listening. And Kim, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you so much for coming and for reading your work and her work. You know, I appreciate you, so thank you so much. Wow, so now you know. I keep telling you, there's a lot of beautiful poetry. I know everybody here was not from Prince William County, but a lot of people were. And so thank you for all of you who were here, and for those of you who were really patient with me while I struggle with myself, the three of y'all. And I want you to know that y'all should be very proud of yourselves. And I know you hate when people say all that crap and you just want to know who won. But it's important to me that you understand a couple things before I say who won. First of all three of you did great work. And I don't say that to say, oh, you know, I'm a native New Yorker. And what you don't know about me is I tend not to say stuff I don't mean. So if I say you did great work, you did great work. Otherwise, I just would say nothing. Just so you know, just so you know. So y'all, all three of you made it really difficult, and I'll tell you why. So I'm gonna butcher names. I did so well earlier, so let me see if I can get this straight. Manuela, I love how you read. You have a way of reading, and your voice carries with a simplistic beauty that I don't think you realize you have. You have a way of pronouncing words, and the way you said your poem, even though it wasn't memorized, and you'll have the memorization police come after you sooner or later when you're a poet. Ignore them. Even though it wasn't memorized, it was the way that you said it, the way that you made us identify with your words. It was seamless. It was absolutely seamless. Kashvir wasn't here, so I'll do her. Hopefully, I'm saying her name right. Also, the storyline, talking about the birthday party, and all that, and taking us on that journey, a journey we could follow. It was really well-written poem, well-written storyline, and we got the point of the poem, and the flow was great. Elaine, the storytelling ability, the way to, pull people in, let them go, pull people in, let them go. All of you did that very well. Elaine, you got me with the counts. When you said 1 and 2 and 3, I was like, it was so hard. I mean, the count was absolute perfection. So there was things that all three of you did well. None of you were amateurs. None of you should give up your pen on performing. But in this particular situation, I have to go with Elaine. So Elaine, you are the winner of the spoken word contest. And I did not include your background, even though I thought it was fierce. I love the rain and the thing, but if I were to include that, it would be unfair to the other ones who didn't use a particular background. So even though I thought it was beautiful, I didn't do that. I used basically your words and how you said it, just so everybody knows. I don't want you to think like, oh, I should have did a certain background. No, I didn't include that. I included your delivery, your poem, the words, and how you delivered it. So Cathy, that is our winner. So let's see. I hope.
So much.
Let's see if she's still here. Hopefully. Maybe not. Okay, I don't see her. All right, but we'll just have to let her know.
Wait, she's there. She's there with a flower.
Oh, okay, I see.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Let me bring you up. Hold on. Thank you. You are the one who delivered. Any words you like to say? I don't want to, force you to say anything you don't feel like saying.
I just want to say, I really enjoyed hearing everyone's poetry and also the art and everything.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, and enjoy, and enjoy. Well, as y'all said, it was going to be a difficult contest to judge, and it surely was. So no easy task there. And thank you all so much for coming. I was trying to think of the end with a haiku or not, and I'm trying to think of which one. And for those of you like, what are haikus? Okay, so haikus are super short poems 17 syllables, started in Japan only on nature and flowers. That's a haiku. There's also something called a senryu, same exact setup. 17 syllables, 3 lines, except that one's on, they call it human follies. So we took that to mean anything. So we make our senryu about anything. In the performance poetry world, we don't make the distinction between senryu and haiku. We call everything a haiku, just like you call a palm and an oak a tree. So we don't make that distinction. I like to say haiku before each one just because I like to. It's not a mandate, just something I think is fun. So haiku. If you give them the key to your joy, when they leave, they can take the lock. Haiku. There's no such thing as the right time, but there is a time you make right. Haiku. Strong women are not unbreakable. We just know you ain't the hammer. Haiku. They thought they broke you, but you're a glow stick. They just exposed your light. And haiku. It's okay to be scared. Do it anyway. Scared people succeed too. Go do your best, be your best, and decide what best means for you. Your dictionary is your heartbeat, and no one gets to write in it but you. Thank you so much for this Women's History Month. As I told you before, if you don't know a great woman, you don't know a woman.